Brad. So hopefully people will start coming on. Guys, welcome to Epic Empires Wednesday night team meeting. Our fearless leader, Jatana Jackson, is in Las Vegas. She's at the elite party for the leadership retreat. So she asked Brad Bizjack, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right, to join our call for this evening. And I personally have heard him speak before, and he is phenomenal. He is definitely motivational. He is inspiring. So please make sure you have a pen and paper out and just pay attention. So just to give you a brief history of Brad, he's the creator of Appreciation Academy. He is a mindset coach and also an inspirational speaker. So I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to him, and he can take over. So
awesome. And I think you actually helped me out of my very first
I did.
Like 10 months ago or something.
Yep. I stepped in for one of my friends. She needed help, so she asked me.
That's right. I was working with Amy Edge. That's right. Oh my gosh. Well, it's good to see you, my friend.
Yes.
How are you guys doing tonight? Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Big thank you to Jatana. I know she's having a wonderful time out at Leadership. I've heard that first elite party obviously is a little bit wild and a lot of fun. And I'm so glad that she's there, fully deserving of it. So I appreciate you guys being here tonight. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present. And I don't take this opportunity lightly. I want you guys to know that. My goal tonight is to bring you above and beyond value. Not just something where you're going to hear, yeah, you got to learn to, read personal development books and do your 10 minutes a day. I mean, real step-by-step action that you can do to truly master your mindset and overcome any negative self-talk that's getting in the way of you becoming the leader that you need to be to achieve incredible things in your life and your business. So let's start with some participation in that chat box. What is a really big goal that you have? Like, it doesn't even need to be Beachbody. It can be anything. What is a really, really big goal that you have in your life, in your business? Type that in the chat box. And as you're typing that in and as you're thinking about it, the cool thing about it is that there is a recipe to making it happen, right? You know that. You know your basic business building behaviors. That's your recipe. You already understand that. But something that you might miss, something that you might not understand, is how you go about using your ingredients of that recipe is what matters. And I think Holly, your line might be unmuted here, just so you know. Getting some feedback noise there. But so how you go about using your ingredients matters. What does that mean? It means you could invite 1 billion people, but if your mindset is off, you'll repel them. It means you can have the absolute best training in the world for your team, but if your mindset is off, it won't matter. In fact, like, how many of you have ever asked the question in your time coaching, why isn't my team doing anything? Have you ever asked that? Why isn't my team doing anything, right? They have all the tools that they need. You're going to learn why on this call. You could pour hours into a support group for your clients, but if your mindset is off, they're actually going to feel like you're trying to repel them, or they're going to be repelled by you. They're not going to feel like you're not trying to help them. They're going to feel like a pawn, right? So what goes on in your mind, your self-talk, is by far and above the most important piece out of all of this. And you've heard that before, right? But instead of just knowing it, you're going to begin to learn the process of applying it, especially when you hit a place where you don't want to apply it. There are times in your business when things aren't going well. And that's the time where it's really easy to kind of fall off of that positive self-talk and get into negativity, right? Those times when you don't hit that rank or don't hit Success Club and things aren't going really well. So let's talk about this. Where does negative self-talk come from? Where do those limiting beliefs come from? I'm going to show you where mine came from in a couple seconds with a couple quick stories. And then we're going to take those beliefs and turn them into an amazing tool that will help you have success and happiness in your life and business. So growing up, these stories, by the way, as I go through them, I don't expect you guys to have the same story. I'm just saying, where can you see yourself in my story, right? You might have a totally different life, but the reason I bring this up is because our stories of our past are what bring up and create those limiting beliefs about our future. So just a couple of minutes here so you can see where my limiting beliefs came from. Growing up, I had an incredibly turbulent relationship with my mom and an incredibly rough childhood. when it comes to emotions, not physically or anything like that, when it comes to emotions. And it gave me some pretty limiting beliefs about how life is. And it completely screwed with my success and my belief in my own abilities. Can any of you relate to the topic of money stress? Raise your hand. At any point in your life relating to the topic of money stress? Right, me too. So I remember growing up, my parents would fight almost every single day about money. There was always a limitation, some form of we can't afford this, some form of you spent how much on what? And I remember witnessing screaming matches between my parents. I never understood why. I remember one time I was probably 10 years old and it was a bad fight between my parents. I didn't understand why they were fighting, but it was a fight about why the bank account was being overdrafted again. And there were swear words being thrown around from both ends. And I said to my mom, why do you guys always have to fight about stupid money? And then my mom snapped at me, telling me to shut the fuck up, go to my room, right? Just swearing at me, telling me she doesn't need the opinion of a punk kid. And my dad comes over with this soft soap dispenser, starts pouring soap down my mom's neck and on her head, right? For talking like in front of us that way. And it was the closest thing to a physical altercation that I ever saw my parents get into. But my little brother and I are crying. We don't know what to do. We're 10 years old. We don't know if we should be mad at mom for saying mean things or mad at dad because he took the argument up a level. But the reason I tell you that is because from that point on, I hated money. I hated it because whenever it came up, it felt like someone was about to get punched in the face, and that never happened. But all the stress around it made me genuinely hate and fear it. And you pair that with seeing weekly overdrafts, never having a peaceful vacation or never having a good Christmas or birthday, right? Always saying no to vacations because of money, seeing my parents struggle even to this day and eventually get divorced. I believed money was bad. I believed it made you a horrible person. I believed that it tore relationships apart. And money is the reason why it took me 6 years to propose to my wife. I was afraid that if we got married and we had money, it would rip us apart. So that's where my limiting belief around money came from. And on top of the money, I had an incredibly turbulent relationship with my mom. How many of you can relate to a troubled relationship with a family member in any way? Can any of you relate to that in any way? And if not, that's okay. Like you still have limiting beliefs of other parts of your life. So I'll just give you my example. First of all, I absolutely love my mom. She's a very good person. I've forgiven her for all the pain and tough times that we went through, but it took a while to get to that point because I was really, really angry and I was really, really sad. And that relationship with her gave me some pretty screwed up beliefs about my life. And I didn't realize it at the time that she was loving me in the only way she knew how at the time, which was needing complete control. And I have this one memory drilled into my head like it was yesterday. I'd be laughing and joking on the bus on the way home from school, and I'd see my stop coming up, and I'd start sweating. My heart would start beating, and I'd grab my backpack. I didn't understand why I was freaking out that way. And I'd walk down the aisle of the bus, get off, go across the lawn, type in the 4-digit code on the garage door, get in, and boom, instantly hit with the smell of cigarette smoke. To this day, cigarette smoke reminds me of the pain of my past. And I'd walk in that door, and I'd see my mom, and sure, there were times when she greeted me with a hug and with a smile, and it was really, really nice. But when you're a kid, the negative emotions of the painful times definitely overtake the good times, right? It just stops you in your tracks. So a lot of the time, I would say the majority of the time, it was a shut up and go to your room. I don't want to talk to you. It was I don't need your opinion right now. I don't want to deal with you right now. Shut up and go away. Some form of you are not enough for me, right? That's what I grew up feeling. Right? And it always screwed with my head, right? I remember thinking to myself, why doesn't my mom love me? Right? Why am I not worthy of someone loving me? And obviously my mom did, but there was just no consistency. And as a kid, you don't know what to think, right? That's just one example. But I grew up craving my mom's love and never feeling like I was enough for her or anything. I never felt like I was worthy of success, of money, of freedom, of anything. I never felt like I deserved someone loving me for me. And that screwed with how I lived my life. I'd be like a chameleon. I'd change who I was depending on the peer group I was in just to feel accepted. I always wanted to be the center of attention or speaking or up on stage, right? Because it helped me feel loved and accepted when smiling eyes were actually on me. I remember one time I actually thought that I was more successful because I was friends with Autumn Calabrese, right? Like I thought that made me more successful, but it didn't mean anything, right? It was my way of feeling that I was worth something. And you might have a different story, but where can you relate? What limiting belief or beliefs do you have now because of something that has happened years ago? right? When you're little, you're incredibly impressionable, and it's in those times that your beliefs about your abilities and your life start to take shape. So when I started my business in Beachbody 5 years ago, it did not matter how many people I invited. It did not matter how many social media posts I put up. It did not matter how many team trainings I created, how many team calls I did for my team. It didn't matter the level of guest speakers that would come in and speak. It didn't matter how much amazing content I was giving them. It was always the same. My team was not growing to match the effort I was putting in. How many of you feel like your team is not growing to match the effort you are putting in? Raise your hand if you've ever felt that. Okay, so I was always like, dude, why aren't you doing this? You have all the tools you need. And on top of that, I was starting to become a reflection of my parents, right? My bank account was always overdrafting. My paychecks were really low. And I was just skating by. I was always seeing that red font on chase.com saying I was overdrafted by 49 cents or whatever it was. So I had to figure out how to fix it. I went on this journey of changing my life. This started back in 2011, and it went up until like a year and a half ago. I went on this journey of getting through these limiting beliefs, getting over this negative self-talk, and all the things that were getting in the way of my leadership ability without me realizing it. Like, we have all the tools, right? The tools of success, the social media trainings, the Instagram stories trainings that Jatana does, all these things. But have you ever noticed that sometimes when you apply that, it doesn't work as well for you? A lot of the time, it has nothing to do with the strategy. It has to do with what goes on up here. Your self-talk, right? You don't even realize that your beliefs about your own abilities get in the way of those strategies, right? Because you'll come off in a different way to people. And that journey of personal growth that helped me get through that led me to the creation of my online mindset course, Appreciation Academy. That program is how I became the leader that I was meant to become. That program is how I changed my entire life. And I tell you all that because when I tried to build a business, the overwhelming amount of negative self-talk, the lack of belief, the secret obstacles that I didn't even realize were there stopped me in my tracks, and I never understood why. So like I talked about, I created a system to overcome it. I'll tell you about that at the end. We don't have time to go through that whole system in an hour. But if you really take this call seriously, you're going to learn 3 of the major steps that I took to exploding my leadership ability and creating the life that I actually wanted. So number 1, this is how I started to change things. Number 1, your thoughts are always the reason. Your thoughts are always the reason. Your thoughts are the reason that your marriage is shitty, if it is. Your thoughts are the reason your bank account is overdrafting. Your thoughts are the reason that your team isn't building. And if you've ever blamed your team for their lack of performance, that's not on them. That is your thought. That is all your thoughts. Your thoughts are the reason you are stuck. The first thing you need to do, and you've heard this before, is change the way you think, right? How many of you have heard the cliche, change your thinking, change your life? Have you ever heard that, right? How many of you have ever learned how to do that, though? No idea, right? Like how to actually change that level of thinking. They don't tell you. I'm going to show you how. So we need to rewire the supercomputer of your mind. What does that mean? You start to tell yourself these stories, right? Money is bad. Building a team is hard. My teammates won't do anything. It's so much easier for Jatana. I'm not enough. If you say stuff like that enough, you actually start to believe it. I'll give you an example to show you what I mean. Have you ever been at a party? And when you're at the party, you want to seem cool, so you tell a story and you exaggerate the details of that story. And you get more laughs, you get more attention, right? You get more engagement from people. And so you're like, okay, that exaggerated story was actually pretty cool. Then the next time you come back to a party, you tell that same exaggerated story, right? And now you've been doing it so often, the fish wasn't this big, it was 4 feet long, right? Now it's 5 years later, you tell that story and you don't even know what part of it is real anymore, right? You know what I'm talking about? You don't even know what's real. You just share that story with so much conviction because you actually believe it's true now because you've shared it in your head so many times, right? The same thing happens with negative self-talk. Only instead of it being a really fun party topic, it sabotages your life and gets in the way of everything you want. So these are your disempowering beliefs, your default software. See, you go through life believing that, telling yourself those stories enough times, and it creates inner conflict. It changes the way you lead everything, your life and your business. If you feel like you're forcing people to do things in your business, it comes from your beliefs, not from the other people. Have you ever been sitting there on the couch wondering why things aren't growing, and you're working so hard and you have no freaking clue how to fix it, right? Your only advice is just keep working, right? It'll happen, right? That's the only advice you get. Just keep hitting Success Club. Just do that, right? And you don't understand why it's not working. And you find yourself 3 months later stagnant in volume, stagnant in rank, paychecks the same or less, not nearly as much growth as you deserve. To change this, you have to believe that you are enough before the evidence of your business says that you're enough. You have to believe that you are an important leader before the evidence of your business proves that you are, right? It's really hard to believe that before, like when you're in a spot where your business is saying that you're not a good leader, right? You have to believe that you're enough beforehand. And you can do that. You can change these beliefs and believe that you're enough by changing your questions. Write this one down. Better questions change your life. Better questions eliminate negative self-talk. Better questions explode your business. Have you ever faced a point where you're trying to convince yourself that you're good enough or that you deserve something great, but you don't actually believe that you can do it, right? Like you do this goal-setting exercise, and on a sheet of paper, you see earn $200,000 by June 3rd, 2019, or whatever it is, right? You see that on your sheet of paper, and you go, that would be amazing to achieve that. That would be life-changing, right? But there's that little voice in the back of your head that goes, there's no way you're getting that goal, right? You know what I'm talking about? There's that little tiny voice back there. Or maybe you do your vision board, right? You have your mansion and your car up there on the vision board, and you're looking at it, you're going, that would be so cool to have my dream life like that. That'd be amazing. I would absolutely love it. It would change everything for me. But there's a little voice. That little voice that says, no, you can't. You know what I'm talking about? Am I crazy, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. So you barely hear it. It's just whispering doubt and insignificance into your subconscious mind. You have to change that. And like I said, can't do it in an hour, but I can give you a tool to do it. So what is thinking? Thinking is nothing more than the process of asking yourself a question. That's what thinking is, right? So if you focus on asking yourself really bad questions, you're going to get really bad answers. If you focus on asking great questions, you're going to get great empowering answers. See, the mistake I made was I was asking myself all these questions about why is it so hard to build my business? Why am I not good enough? What am I doing wrong? Why am I so stuck? Why is it so hard to hit 5-star or 10-star, whatever it is, right? I just thought I had to work harder. But there comes a point where you're working your butt off and nothing's happening. There's inner conflict going on. So like I said, when you ask yourself for bad questions, you get bad answers. Great questions, great answers. So let's do an example to show you what I mean. Count the number of things that you can find in your room right now that are any shade of red. Look, ready, go. Look for red. Count the number of things that are red. Look for red, 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 look for red. Cool. So you probably found a few things that were red. If you didn't, you don't have any red in there, cool. You'll get the example in a second. Now, how many things did you find that were blue though? You have no idea because you weren't looking for blue, right? Now look around the room for everything you can find that's blue. Ready, go. Look for blue. 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 How many more things did you find that were blue? Right? You probably even saw green and were like, that's kind of like blue. That will count that as blue just to feel successful, right? So there's a reason for that. There's this little thing in your brain called the reticular activating system. And what it does is it fizzles out all the stuff that you're not looking for, right? So when you were looking for red, you didn't find blue. When you were looking for blue, you didn't even see red. Have you ever been in the market for a car? And let's say you want to buy a 2017 Ford Fusion. That's just the car you decide on. Whatever your car is, insert that car there, right? That's the car you decide you want to buy. The second you decide to buy that car, you see that car everywhere. It is at every stoplight, every stop sign, every freaking parking lot, everywhere. That car is everywhere. Did that car magically appear? Or was it always there? You just weren't looking for it. So the reason I say that is because when you look for red, AKA why am I not enough? Why is this business so hard? Why doesn't my spouse support me? AKA red, bad, disempowering. You don't see all the reasons why you can succeed, so you never succeed. When you focus on what you don't want, looking for red, those are the seeds of doubt and skepticism and pain. And those thoughts grow in your mind like weeds. Jim Rohn has an amazing quote that says, stand guard at the gates of your mind or weeds will grow automatically. What does that mean? Have you ever noticed that your natural inclination is to focus on what's wrong? There's a reason for that. Your natural inclination is to try to protect yourself. And the reason is because our brain is thousands and thousands of years old. And thousands of years ago, your biggest fears were focused on how the hell am I going to eat? How am I going to survive? And how am I going to put clothes on my back? How am I going to protect my baby from the saber-toothed tiger that's hiding in the bushes? Those were your fears. They were primal. They were real. They were like genuine fears. Now, you don't have to worry about how you're going to eat. You can call it Jimmy John's, right? You don't have to worry about putting clothes on your back. Like you have all these Beachbody shirts that you got for free, right? You don't have to worry about any of that. Those same fears that you had back in the day, those fears are what you equate to sending an invite now, right? Fear of judgment, but you're going to be friggin' fine, right? Fear of pain, fear of someone thinking that you're not a good leader, whatever it is. So the reason I say that is because your brain is not wired to be happy. Your brain is not wired to look for blue. Your brain is wired to protect you from pain. That's what your brain does. That is literally its job, right? So if you don't train yourself to look for blue, if you don't train yourself to ask yourself empowering questions, you will always find the disempowering version. You will always find red, okay? So ask yourself this right now. Do an example. Close your eyes and say to yourself, why am I not enough to build this business? Ask yourself, why am I not enough to build this business? What happens? Do you notice that you actually try to answer a question, right? You try to answer that exact question. And like all these answers start pouring out of you, right? Saying you're not good enough, saying that you're a bad leader, saying you're not proof the products work, whatever it is. How motivated do you feel when you focus on that? You don't. You don't feel motivated, right? And like even when you read positive thinking, motivational self-help books, you still hear that voice that says you're not enough. I shared a couple stories a minute ago about where my biggest limiting beliefs came from. What are your limiting beliefs? Raise your hand if you've ever had any of these thoughts, if they sound familiar to you, whether past or present. Like I said, we talked about this one. Why isn't my team doing anything? Why can't I get it right? Why don't people want to join me? How come I always mess it up? Why am I so broke? Why do I never catch a break? Why does it always seem so much easier for other people? Why can't I do anything right? Why am I not a good leader? Will I always be this stuck? Raise your hand if you're ever an asshole to yourself like that. Be honest. Lie about that, lie about other shit too, right? Seriously, like we all say stuff like that to ourselves sometimes, right? Those are limiting beliefs. It does not feel very good to ask yourself those questions, right? I bet it leads to a lot of pain, a lot of procrastination, and you're sitting there looking at your life frustrated with the results you're getting. And no matter how much someone tells you that you can do it, no matter how many people tell you they believe in you, no matter how many times you see other people achieving big things just like you, there's that little voice that says, no, you can't. Do you know what I'm talking about, or am I crazy? So when you set a goal, whether you are looking for red or looking for blue, will determine if that goal will come true. So setting goals is nothing more than the process of trying to create a new reality as opposed to your current reality. That's goal setting, right? It's that simple. You just want to create a new reality. The gap in the middle is red or blue. The gap in the middle is disempowering questions or empowering questions. And until that language that goes on in your mind is consistently empowering, really empowering, you will not get to your goals. You will always fall short of your goals. You're going to feel like you're fighting and fighting and fighting and going nowhere. It doesn't have to do nearly as much with the strategy. Does strategy play a role? Absolutely. You got to know how to use your Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. Strategy is important, but if you have this limiting belief about how you're not enough, you will never get there regardless if you have the right strategy or not. Let's use the limiting belief that I had, which is, why isn't my team growing, right? Ask yourself that. Why isn't my team growing? Your brain looks for an answer. Even if you're successful, unless you've trained yourself to look for blue, you will literally find why your team isn't growing. You'll find all the reasons why you're stuck. That is how insidious negative self-talk really is. Something you need to understand is that your entire life can be changed by asking yourself more empowering questions. Your brain is like a Google search engine. It will answer whatever the hell you type into that search bar. So what if you intentionally reverse it? If your responses are just like a Google search engine, It means that whatever you type in, you're going to get an answer, right? So let's change what we type into our mental Google, right? Your brain's looking for an answer anyways. So ask it an intelligent question that's going to lead to a better life, right? That's how you can change things. So if your brain's looking for the answer 100% of the time, asking why is it so hard to build my team, your brain finds the reasons why it's hard to build your business. So that's what you focus on. So you never find the answer to your biggest challenges. When you sit down to work, your brain is finding every reason why you're not capable. So you don't send the invites, you scroll Facebook. You don't support your clients, you wonder why more aren't coming to you. You don't support and serve your teammates in the best way possible. You check in with them like your mom would the first week of college, right? That's what you do. Think about that. And here's what's crazy. There are amazing people and opportunities and situations that stumble across your life every day. Remember that Ford Fusion is always there. There are beautiful, amazing things that stumble across your life every single day. But because your software is focused on red, why is it so hard? Why am I not enough? Self-sabotage steps in. You won't even notice the opportunity sitting right in front of you. You won't notice John sitting on the park bench that has high cholesterol. You won't realize that the dude that lives literally next door to you doesn't know how he's going to pay his kids' college tuition. You could be that person that helps them. Here's something to understand. Never leave someone else's freedom trapped in your mouth. Never leave someone else's freedom trapped in your mouth, right? So change this up. Ask yourself this question. Type this question into your Google. Why is it so easy to empower my team to create an amazing life? Ask yourself that. Why is it so easy to empower my team to create an amazing life? What happens? You still look for an answer. And even if you're brand new, you find all the reasons why you can instead of why you can't. Try this one. Why is it so easy to rank advance this month? What happens? You still look for an answer. Instead of focusing on why is it so hard to hit emerald, right? Focusing on how, oh, I don't want to be judged by this person. I don't want to come off as salesy. I don't want to get rejected, all these negative things. If you focus on why is it so easy to rank advance this month, you can go, oh, shit, emerald's only 2 people. Diamond's only 8 people. I can ask John, Susie, and these other people, right? That's all I got to do. I'm helping them with something really cool. You think about why you can instead of why you can't when you ask yourself an empowering question, when you start to focus on the opportunities, the people you can reach out to, the sacrifices you can make to build your business. Blue, right? If you fill your mind with this one step of my system every single day, your life will drastically change. And here's the key. You don't need the answer to the question that you ask. You don't need to know the answer. You just need to ask a question that leads you towards the answer. Because when you're in the right state of mind and you know what you want and the direction you want to go, the how will reveal itself. Always remember that. You don't need to know how. If you have the why, the how will reveal itself. But live in an empowering question that will lead you to the life that you want. Write this down. Every problem you face is simply an empowering question you haven't asked yourself yet. Every problem you face is an empowering question you haven't asked yourself yet. So for your life and for your business, write down all the negative things you ask yourself all the time. This isn't just Beachbody. This is your freaking life. With your relationship, with your bank account, all of it. Write down all the negative stuff you say to yourself. Why is my business not growing? Why am I stuck? Why am I so fat? Why does my husband always annoy me? Whatever it is, write it all down and then flip it on its head. Turn those questions into why is it so easy to blank? Why am I so wealthy? Why is my business booming? Why is my life amazing? Why is it so easy to lead my team? Why is it so simple to be a product of the product? Why am I such a great leader? When you do that, everything changes. The 2 questions that changed my entire world are why am I so kind to myself? And why am I worthy of living such an amazing life? Those 2 questions changed everything for me. Because a lot of the time, this negative self-talk comes from being a dick to yourself. Right? That's it. Life will get 100% easier if you are just 1% nicer to yourself. Life will get 100% easier if you are just 1% nicer to yourself. Asking yourself one empowering question a day. Then what you do is you take those empowering questions that you wrote out, the opposite, right, of what those disempowering ones were, you put them on Post-it notes all over your house. I'm serious. Like, it seems funny, but I am dead serious when I say this, right? Imagine, just for a second, if on a Post-it note or even a reminder on your phone, right? Let's say a reminder on your phone. You have a reminder on your phone that goes off 5 minutes before your kids get home from school that says, why is it so easy to make my kids feel loved today? What would happen? How would you change the way that you respond when they walk in the door? If you have the Post-it note, why is it so easy to hit my health and fitness goals? Or why is it so easy to be proof the products work in your fridge, literally in your fridge? You're going to grab the potato chips or the Nutella? Maybe sometimes. Or are you going to grab the spinach? Right? Think about it. That can change your entire world, that empowering question, because you're going to think twice about it. You're going to go, you know what? Why is it easy to be healthy? Because I'm choosing smart options, right? What if you put on your car dashboard, why is it so easy to make my husband feel loved today? How are you going to walk in the door if that's the last thing you read before you walk in from work? You're going to go up and jump on him, right? You're not going to sit there and just wallow in your sorrows about your bad, stressful day. You're going to go jump on him, right? This is just one of the steps that I took to rewire my mind. This is how you change your thinking, change your life. This is how you do that cliche. Your life will change if you do this. I promise you that. This is just one of the things, right? So you're planting new thought seeds. And go with this metaphor here. You're planting new thought seeds. You're watering them daily with a question, right? And all of a sudden, you stopped watering the weeds. You stopped watering red, right? You let those weeds die in your garden. Now the only plants you water are the flowers. That's the story you tell at the party. The Ford Fusion, right? What you want. And within less time than you think, that garden is absolutely gorgeous. It's blooming with so many colors and plants, and it's giving your life oxygen again. And when your life has oxygen again and you feel alive again and you feel on top of the world again, guess what happens? You attract leaders to you. And when you attract leaders to you, guess what happens? Your business becomes easier to build. Is this one mindset strategy helpful? Just this one thing. Is this helping you guys? Okay, let's move on to number 2. Number 2, write this down. Your problem is not the problem. How you face your problem is the problem. Your problem isn't your problem. How you face your problem is the problem. So when you are so emotionally attached to a goal coming true, you actually start to push a goal away from you. What does that mean? I'm not saying don't be passionate and excited and get your hopes up about your goals. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when your happiness is dependent on a goal to come true, you are making that goal way harder to achieve. When you say, I'll be happy when I get there, I'll be happy when I get to diamond, when I get to this weight, when I win that competition, you are literally making it so much harder to achieve, and you're making your life miserable. Have you ever found yourself, raise your hand if you ever found yourself pushing so hard for a goal, and that goal seems to get further and further away from you? You ever faced that? That is because you are in a state of attachment. It's when you have this mindset of, I need this to work and then I'll finally feel fulfilled or happy. When you think that way and you come up short, which by the way, the mosquito right here, when you think that way and you come up short, which happens in goal setting sometimes, how do you feel if it's an absolute must and then you can be happy? How do you feel when you miss a goal? You feel pretty crappy, right? You feel like your self-worth took a little bit of a hit, right? And let me guess, it leads to that self-sabotage, getting into a slump, compounding negative self-talk, looking for red all over again. So you start to actually believe that you're a bad leader, that you're not enough, when it's a bullshit story, just like that one that you told at the party, right? When you try to build a business this way, from that state of, I need this to happen and then I will be successful, it is incredibly overwhelming and intense and stressful to try to solve that. How do you overcome those demons? It's like impossible to do. It feels defeating because you have no idea how to solve it. So you start to accept it as truth when it's not real. So when you can see, or when you can learn to see your challenges as an objective question that you're on a mission to solve, instead of being responsible for your emotional well-being, the challenges get easier. Meaning, when you let go of that attachment to a goal, it becomes easier to hit the goal. Huge important note here, and this is the entire main overarching theme of Appreciation Academy, my online course. Business and success and weight loss and winning competitions will not make you happy. It won't make you happy. Happiness will lead to those accomplishments. Happiness will lead to success, because even if you stumble upon the accomplishment, you won't be as happy as you could be. You won't be fulfilled, right? Happiness and appreciation for the journey you are on and the challenge you face is how you overcome the challenge. Most people don't get that. I didn't, and that's why I stayed stuck for so long. You don't need to find the answer because the journey you're on is the answer. That's what you need to understand. It is not wrong where you are. If you keep failing in business, there is a reason. You're going to realize real quick that the lesson of what you're supposed to be learning will keep getting louder and louder and louder until you finally go, oh shit, I need to realize that, right? That's what's going to happen. So seeing your current good, decreasing that attachment, seeing your current good is the fastest way to increase more good. Seeing what is wrong in your life will cause you to never achieve your dreams. Dead serious, okay? So what does that mean? Step into the common sense corner for a second. Let's say, I'm not sure if you're a believer or anything, I'm not telling you to be, I'm just saying step into the common sense corner. Let's say you're universe, God, infinite intelligence, whatever the heck you believe in, right? And you have your creation, and there's person A and person B. Person A is the person that is going, oh my gosh, this sucks. My business isn't growing. I'm trying so hard. Maybe I should just give up. It's raining outside. This blows. I can't believe I'm doing this. Why is my husband so annoying? Oh my gosh. All these things, right? And you're saying all these negative things. That's person A. Person B is, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I'm facing so many challenges in business. This is incredible. I'm learning so much and growing so much. And oh my gosh, like, this money challenge is incredible. There's these little ants that crawl up your leg and bite you. They have so much courage. This is so cool. What a cool experience. So I'm joking, but step into that common sense corner. If you are God, the universe, whatever you believe in, are you going to give more to the person who bitches about having less? Or are you going to give more to the person that is excited about everything they already have? Right? Think about that for a second. Seeing your current good is the fastest way to increase more good. Seeing your current bad is how you get stuck. And what's awesome about this one skill is that it means you don't have to work nearly as hard for exponentially better results. Because instead of just slamming down on that gas pedal to get to your destination, wondering why you're not going fast enough, trying to swerve in and out of cars, but everyone's passing you and you're comparing yourself to them, freaking out about why you're not there yet, instead of just slamming down that gas pedal, you realize the only problem is that your emergency brake is on. That's it. That's all there is. So to go further faster, you don't need to push down on your pedal harder. You just need to release the brake. See, most people try to climb the mountain of success saying they'll only be happy when they get to the top, right? I'll be happy when I get there. Put your dream on top of a mountain for a second. The problem is when you are so attached to a goal that your happiness is dependent on it, when that's the case, what's happening is it's like trying to climb Everest with a blindfold on. That's the challenge with it. Because when you're climbing a mountain, there's going to be lots of ups and downs, right? There's going to be grizzly bears and snowstorms and all this random crap, right? You're going to face all of these challenges along the way. That's what's going to happen on the way up a mountain, right? And if you have a blindfold on and you're going downhill, you're going to think that things are bad. You're going to think that all these detours are leading you the wrong way. You're going to trip and fall. You're going to hit your knee, whatever it is, right? And if that blindfold is on, it's going to take a hell of a lot longer to get to the top, to get to that goal. So why not just take your blindfold off and just appreciate that every single part of these detours, all this stuff is just part of the hike. It's just part of the climb. What if you enjoy the journey of getting to the top instead of just the top? All of a sudden, every part of that hike becomes absolutely beautiful. It becomes so much more rewarding when you get to the top. It's way easier to get to because you realize that if you're going downhill when it seems like you're not getting closer to your goal, you're realizing that trail is leading you away from a cliff. It's leading you towards that goal, right? It's way easier to get to if you just take that blindfold off. When you're in a state of this absolutely must happen and then I will allow myself to be happy, how does it come off to your team? You're forcing them, right? How does it come off in your social media posts? How does it come off in your invites? How does it affect the way you talk to your prospects? Even more importantly, how does it affect your relationship with your husband or wife? And most of you try to build a business from this state of mind. And guess what? It doesn't work. It won't work. So what if you let it go? What if you chill and be okay and happy either way? What if you take that blindfold off and decide to love the ups and the downs, the valleys and the peaks? What if you become committed to your goal, committed to reaching the top of that mountain and committed to loving the climb? What if you go on this hike for the experience of hiking not just the summit? Wouldn't you be so much more relaxed along the way? You'd be just chilled out, right? You'd be happier. You'd be more fulfilled. You'd be less hurt by challenges. You'd be less hurt by detours. So what if you were committed to your dreams instead of having a death grip on your dreams, saying that you'll be happy once you achieve them? And what if every single day you work hard because you love the person you're becoming instead of only the results? What if you did it for the growth and not just the outcome? What if you did it to become a better leader, not for more money? What if you did it for the climb and not just the peak? How would you look at leadership challenges differently? How would you empower your team? How would you invite differently? How would you give yourself a break? In your business, when you operate from that state of attachment, if someone says no, or someone quits, or you get a return order, it takes way longer to get up and running than you originally thought. But what if that is just the scenery on that metaphorical mountain that you're experiencing, right? What if you just loved how much it was helping you grow? What if you realized that all of the detours, all of those snowstorms were helping you, guiding you towards what you want? What if you did it for the growth? If you did that, if you made that choice, all of a sudden, a cancellation, a return order, whenever something like that happens, it becomes a really cool thing because you learn something instead of hate something. And when you learn something instead of hate something, it becomes way easier to listen to the lesson that life's trying to teach you. And when you're in that state of mind, wouldn't you agree that business is way easier to build? It's so much easier to build from that state of mind. That feeling you have in your heart where you just feel like you're forcing things all the time and you're not getting nearly enough results for the effort you're putting in, that is going to go away when you choose this. What if you become alive again? What if your energy becomes contagious again? How would your life change? Living this way makes achievement way easier. So like I said, that's what my course is for, to teach you how to get into that state of mind. But I can give you one final tip that will make it so much easier to get to that state. You guys have time for one more before we hop off? Okay, cool. So I call this the secret sauce. And before I get into this, put yourself in a room or a situation where you will allow yourself to be vulnerable, where you'll allow yourself to be real. Put away the cell phones, put away the Instagram stories, put away all of it. Just be present for these next 5-7 minutes. And I promise you, you will learn a skill that can change your entire world. Okay? But you have to take it seriously or else you're not going to notice any change at all and you're going to keep on going down the same path. Okay? So get somewhere where you'll allow yourself to feel vulnerable, feel emotion. Okay? So I call this the secret sauce. You might know it as genuine gratitude. And I don't mean gratitude where you're saying, yay, I'm grateful I have a roof over my head. I mean real gratitude, where you attract people to you because you're vibing so high. That type of gratitude. Gratitude attracts people to you. Gratitude makes it incredibly difficult gratitude makes it impossible to feel pain. It is literally impossible to feel any negative emotions that prevent your business growth when you are grateful. I'm going to show you in just a second how gratitude is an actual business strategy, not just something that feels good every once in a while. I used to think gratitude was a crock of shit, but I'm serious. Like, it is a business tool, and you're going to learn why in a second. Because in life, you're going to experience pain. You're going to experience setbacks in your business. You're going to. I guarantee you that it is going to happen. It's coming. But suffering from that pain is your choice. It's optional. It's up to you. When you're in a state of gratitude, it is impossible to feel frustration. It's impossible to feel impatient. It's impossible to feel anger. Any sort of limiting emotion that holds your business back, it is impossible to feel it when you're grateful. Opportunities and things and situations, right, come to you so much faster when you are grateful for the life that you have. You attract the most amazing things to your life when you appreciate the life you're already living. Think about this. You are watching a video on a computer or phone or tablet from anywhere in the world. You're probably on a couch, right? Let me see. You're probably on a couch, right? You got a cozy blanket on or at the kitchen table, right? You're probably wondering what you're going to have for date night on Friday. You're probably going to drive your car to work tomorrow, pull into the parking spot of the job where you make a good income or supplement the income for your family, right? You might take your kids to the doctor. You might be a stay-at-home mom, right? You might have a dog that you got to take to the vet. You might even sit down and watch Apple TV tonight after this call and watch a movie. And all of that you probably take for granted. When there is a mother out there who just watched her baby starve to death today. When there are people out there that inject needles into their arms to cope with pain. when there are countries that still live in communism? If you're so accustomed to the miracles happening around you every single day, you're not going to see them as miracles anymore. Most of you probably view miracles as scarce and don't appreciate how literally everything around you was once a thought or an idea. This team was once an idea that Jatana had. Just an idea. It was that be cool if, right? So it proves that you can create miracles at any second, right? We have the tendency to let go of gratitude and make it a rule that we can only feel gratitude or happiness if something happens, that goal, right? And that is setting yourself up for suffering. Nothing has to happen for you to feel good. Nothing has to happen for you to be happy. You don't need a reason for happiness. And as long as you structure your life in a way where your happiness is dependent on an outcome or dependent on something you don't control, you are setting yourself up for misery, right? Even if you have a ton of success, you could be winning at life and feel like you're losing because the scorecard you're using is unfair, because it only allows you to feel happiness if something happens. And because this is a team of achievers, I'm going to drop a truth bomb on you that's going to hurt for a second if you don't live this way. Achievement without gratitude is total failure. Achievement without gratitude is total failure. That might be tough to hear. If you live in the US or Canada and you're in the bottom 1% of those countries, the bottom 1%, you are in the top 1% of the world. You are breathing, you are alive. Most of this world lives on $2.50 a day, $900 a year. Some of you guys earn more than that tomorrow in your paycheck, right? You are breathing, you're alive. That should be enough to smile about. And if you're smiling, business becomes easier. A lot of you have these high expectations, right? Your spouse, your kid, your team, your volume, your sales. And when your life conditions, the way life currently is, doesn't match up with how you want it to be, you get frustrated. And when you get frustrated, it leads you into that state of attachment, which leads you down that rabbit hole of negative emotions looking for red. I challenge you to let that go. Gratitude is the antidote. Gratitude needs to become a regular practice. Again, I don't mean the BS gratitude, I mean real, where you feel it, that I'll show you in just a second. Because your view of life literally determines your future. So every single day, condition your mind to focus on being grateful, and slowly the anxiety, the overwhelm, the depression, the fear, the negative self-talk that gets in the way of your business, you're not going to notice it as much anymore. And you're going to become excited about every single day. I went through a period of time where I knew what I wanted so incredibly bad, but it was like I would have these bad days like 4 days a week, right? It was terrible. I was just like kind of depressed, and even worse, I was pissed off at myself that I was having those bad days. I was immobilized. I knew exactly what I needed to do. I had all the strategies in the world. I literally remember seeing my computer staring at me going, dude, what's your problem? Why aren't you changing your life? But I just didn't care, but I cared so much at the same time. And from practicing the exercise that I'm going to teach you in a second, I noticed those times of depression and anxiety and negative self-talk go down. Then it was once every, instead of 4 times a week, it was 2 times a week. Then once a week, then one time every 2 weeks, then one time every month, then one time every 6 months. Now, my natural setting is to be happy. Now my default setting is happiness. And that is attracting things to my life faster than I ever could have imagined, right? And yes, there are still days once in a blue moon where I get in this whole like woe is me thing, right? And I get depressed and useless that day. But I now know how to get out of it in 2 minutes using gratitude. In fact, what I learned from multiple mentors is that gratitude can solve any business problem or any other stressful situation in your life, or lead you towards the answer in 2 minutes. I mean, I'm serious. So every situation you can solve with gratitude. I'm going to show you how. And this is something I don't take credit for. It's something that I have adopted from multiple personal growth leaders. It's something that if you take this seriously, you can learn how to change everything when you're in those stressful states. So get to a place where you'll allow yourself to be emotional and vulnerable. Put Instagram away, put all of it away. Just be present with me for 4 minutes, okay? Close your eyes. Actually do this. Close your eyes, turn the TV off, close your eyes. And think of a situation in your life. And by the way, don't open your eyes until I literally tell you to open them. Keep them closed, okay? Think of a situation in your life that stresses you out on a scale of 1 to 10, 7, 8, 9, or higher. It can be business, it can be your relationship, it can be your marriage, your bank account, whatever it is. Think of that situation. Think of all the pain it's led to. Think of the stress. Think of how it's unresolved. Think of all the things that make you feel like you're held back or stuck or not enough because of that situation. And just feel the stress of it for a second. With your eyes closed, raise your hand if you have your stressor. Everyone have their stressor? Okay. So with your eyes closed, keeping them closed, take both your hands and physically put them on your heart. Physically put them on your heart with your eyes closed. And breathe deep into your heart. Like imagine as you take a deep breath, air is actually flowing into your heart. Take a deep breath into your heart, deep breath out your mouth. And notice how your breath has calmed your mind. Big deep breath in, big deep breath out. With your hand on your heart, just understand for a second that this heart beats 100,000 times a day without you having to work for it. As long as it beats, you live. It's a gift. You didn't have to work for your heart. You didn't have to buy your heart. God, the universe, whatever you believe in, thought enough of you to give you this gift of life the second you were born. So take a second and just breathe in so much genuine gratitude right now for the fact that you have this beautiful gift of life. Something thought enough of you to give you this gift the second you were born. You have inherent worth. So just take a second and appreciate that. Appreciate all that it's led to in your life. Think of where you are now because of this beautiful heart beating in your chest 100,000 times a day. And in that beautiful state, taking those big deep breaths in your heart, go back to a memory in your life, a moment, any stage, any time in your life, a moment that you can feel deep feelings of gratitude for. Is it when you had your first kiss, when you got married, when you had your first kid? Go back to that moment. But instead of seeing that moment from the outside, while breathing deep in your heart, step back into that moment like you're there. Relive that memory. Breathe the same way you did then. See the same things you saw then. Feel the same emotions you felt then. Relive that experience for a second and just feel so grateful for that amazing memory that you experienced in your life. And just feel so grateful and appreciate it. Keep your hands on your heart and just breathe deep and appreciate it so much. Now go to a second memory. What's a second memory that you can feel deeply grateful for? Moment, any stage, any time. Step back and relive that moment for a second. Just appreciate it. Think of all that it led to. But again, instead of seeing it from the outside, relive that memory like you're there. See the same things you saw then. Feel the same emotions you felt then. Breathe the same way you breathed then. Relive that memory like you're experiencing it all over again right in front of you and just feel so grateful that you went through that memory, that that's part of your life, that that's something you can look back and smile about, that life is a gift. Think of all it led to and where your life is now because of that. And now step into a coincidence. Go into a coincidence, a moment where life was really happening for you and not to you. Right? What's a coincidence you can be grateful for? You were in line at Starbucks and you met the love of your life, right? You didn't mean to get pregnant, but now you have an amazing kid. Go back to a coincidence that you can feel deep feelings of gratitude for. And think of all it led to. Appreciate for just a second that life is always happening for you and not to you. Appreciate that every single problem in your life is a gift if you listen to it. And go back to that coincidence and just think of everything that has led to and how grateful you are that you have that experience in your life. And when you feel that, stack it on top of all the other memories. Feel the gratitude in your heart for your heart beating 100,000 times a day without you having to do anything for it. Feel the gratitude of that first memory. Feel the gratitude of that second memory. Stack on that coincidence and breathe deep in your heart, feeling the emotions, the power of your heart, and just appreciating this beautiful gift of life. And in your own mind, from this beautiful state, from your heart, not your head, from your heart, go back to that stressor and repeat to yourself from your heart, in this situation, all I need to remember is blank. In this situation, all I need to do is blank. In this situation, all I need to become is blank. And if you felt some sort of guidance towards that stressor, you learned how gratitude can be a business tool. Now, if you were distracted, you guys can open your eyes. If you were distracted during this exercise, had other things going on, you didn't feel anything from that, I bet it didn't help. So go back and re-listen to this. So some of you guys kind of doing other stuff. Go back and re-listen to this. Go through that exercise and you will feel how gratitude is a business tool. Those of you guys that did go in that state, did you find direction to that challenge? Raise your hand if you found direction to that challenge from that beautiful state. That is how gratitude is an actual business tool. That's how you can feel genuine happiness and eliminate negative self-talk on a day-to-day basis. And that is just one of the techniques that I teach in Appreciation Academy. Just one. So the reality is, guys, you have one shot at this life. Real talk, one shot. And most people go through life trying to stay safe, never really going for it. You are not that person. You're not that person that's going to be crippled by fear. Life could change at any time. The reality is you have one chance in this world, but your clock in life is ticking. Any moment that clock could run out. This is important to understand. You do not control the length of your life, but you do control its depth and its meaning. You were not put here to experience mediocrity. You were meant to take your pain and make it mean something. I took the pain of my past, all that stagnant feeling in my business, in my life, and my relationship with my mother, all the pain of my childhood, I turned it into a tool to help people overcome negative self-talk and create the beliefs they need to get unstuck in their life in my program. You have pain in your life that you can use for greatness too. You just have to harness it. You just have to learn how to use it. You were put here to experience full life, being fully alive, breathing, feeling energetic and just electric every single day. I can teach you how, but one thing you need to realize is that you are exactly where you need to be right now to learn the lesson you need to learn, to live the life you were meant to live. The outcome you're looking for is not the answer. The journey you're on is the answer, right? And until you can realize that, until you realize that everything you're going through is trying to teach you something, and until you can appreciate that, you'll always be spinning your wheels. Happiness comes before achievement. And even if you do stumble upon that achievement, you won't be happy. Happiness is the key to all of this. You need to learn the skill. This is a trainable skill of happiness if you want to get unstuck in your life and your business. The life you're living right this second is the answer. When you see it that way, amazing things will start to happen. And instead of just knowing that, all you have to do to radically change your life is to make this part of your life. When you do that, instead of shrinking your dreams down to the size of your business, relationship, income, you can build your business, relationship, income to the size of your dreams and make that your default setting. And when you have that instilled in you as who you are, game over. You began that process today, and I am so proud of you for playing all out with me on this. If you found this valuable, I'm gonna take 1 second and share about something. If you found this valuable, if you found a deep connection with the words I shared tonight, I highly, highly encourage you to invest in my online course, Appreciation Academy. Jen Richardson even says it is the one thing that Beachbody coaches are missing. Tonight was so top level. It barely scratched the surface. So if you felt something real from this, if you felt like you're living in this memory that says you're not enough, it is time to stop believing that. And I can actually teach you tactical strategies how to do it, right? And if you've been spinning your wheels, wanting success so bad and not experiencing that breakthrough, I know how you feel. I lived it. And I broke that pattern. And I did it with this course. That is how I will show you to do it. It's exactly how I did it. You've heard the words, change your thinking, change your life. You've been motivated by it, but Appreciation Academy is the very first course that actually shows you how. Literally how to change the way you think. So if you felt like I was almost peering into what's in your head or in your heart, if you felt like I was onto something that could change your future, Appreciation Academy will get you unstuck. It will get you to the place that you want. That is a promise. So if you're interested in that, if you're interested in learning more, head to appreciationacademy.com right now and join me, and you will be so grateful that you did. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, and I will turn it back to you. Thank you so much.
Oops, awesome. Thank you so much. I'm in the dark because Cooper fell asleep on me. So I won't turn my camera on. But thank you so much, Brad, for coming. And thank you guys for being on this call. And we just really appreciate your time. And make sure you check out his site. And if you guys have any questions or you need to get a hold of him, you can contact me. So have a good night. Bye.